And then there were four focusing on the NFC Championship game here. And Sam Darnold, despite the fact that the two games against the Rams were incredibly close and the Seahawks won one of them, he has not played well against the Rams, is what I should have said. He's thrown 2 touchdowns and 6 picks against L.A. compared to 23 touchdowns and 8 picks against everybody else. So this is the third meeting between these teams. Dan has tape on both of the quarterbacks. We'll start with the Darnold side of it. What are we looking for specifically in this matchup from him?
Yeah, the big thing for Sam Darnold is he going to listen to his feet? That's something that at times he's been great at and times it's hurt him. So double linebackers, this is empty. So 5 out in the pass concept. Sam, at times, has been really good with catch the snap, recognize, okay, that linebacker's dropping. That means there's a vacancy in the middle of the field. Ball comes out of his hands. Now, the Rams have done a good job of dropping that defender in that passing lane. San Francisco doesn't. But Sam Darnold was convicted of what he saw there. There's another opportunity. Conviction in his feet. He's staring to the bottom of the screen, doesn't like it. Now, pay attention to his feet. Good job of just resetting and finding that third option. Now, here's the thing. When he does this, it's great. It also tells to the defense of, we can get him to throw the ball where we want to. San Francisco's that close to getting a hand on the football. Once again, that empty set. If he trusts his feet and what he's looking at, stares down the middle field, sees one safety, knows that there's going to be soft coverage to the perimeter of the defense, understands the corner follows Shaheed, here's that easy out route, that's when he's at his best. Now, this is the superpower of Sam. It is. That's the strength of Sam Darnold. But there is a reality when a quarterback plays at such a convicted level, and I think this is where the Rams get him. When you show a picture, I know what you're in. As long as I get my eyes there, they know it as well from a defensive perspective, and they kind of bait you into some throws. I think that's the massive part of this game from the Rams defense, Seahawks offense is this. Sam trusts his feet, but does he also confirm what he's looking at?
So the whole tenor of this conversation is based on the fact that the two quarterbacks in this game, I believe, have much more at stake than just winning one game and going to one Super Bowl. Starting with the Darnold side of it. Even in that graphic we put up, we still use the word seeing ghosts. And you talked earlier about how certain things stay with players, whether these comments will stay with Keon Coleman. That comment from that Monday night game sticks with Darnold to this day. He can erase that forever on Sunday. Sam Darnold can go from being the guy who the guy's won 14 games in back-to-back seasons. But that's still what he's probably best known for. You lead a team to the Super Bowl, I think all of a sudden that becomes the way people think of you.
It becomes your legacy. And I think, and I've had to check myself for this as well. I think the overwhelming narrative around Sam Darnold is that what we've seen from him over the last 2 seasons is not actually reality, as if the magical carriage is going to turn into a pumpkin at any moment. And when they play against the Rams, those are the really tough matchups for him, where it does seem, to Dan's point, that he is seeing ghosts a little bit, that he's second-guessing himself, that when he expects to be there, when it doesn't show up there, he now plays differently. And for this game, that's what he's going to have to combat. He's going to have to show a version of Sam Darnold against the Los Angeles Rams, dating back to last year when he played them late in the season with the Vikings, that he can get over that hump. Because if he can, and you think about this legendary quarterback class of 2018 with Sam Darnold, Josh Allen, Baker Mayfield, Lamar Jackson, multiple-time MVPs, him being the first one to take his team to a Super Bowl is significant, and it will cement in everyone's mind that he is the quarterback we see over these last 2 seasons.
Also, want to point that you're talking about his feet. I'm going to go to his oblique. Last week, he hurt his oblique 2 days before the game, didn't throw.
Right.
Obviously played well on Sunday. They managed it well, but I see this week they're limiting his throwing this week. He's not going to take all the throws. He says he's feeling better, but it's still a factor. And obviously they'll numb it up on Sunday. He'll get through it. It's not like he's not going to play. He's going to be out there. But you wonder if that oblique will interfere at all on Sunday.
Before we get to Matthew, this game's going to come down to can Sam Darnold do it late? If you're the Rams defense, there's no Zach Charbonnet. This is an offense that is a run. They're going to make Sam Darnold beat them again late in the game. Can he? That's what you're talking about. Because that comeback that they had on Thursday night when he starts off rough and then finishes great, if you're the Rams, you got to challenge him to do that again. And can he do that again? Because I've been the biggest Sam Darnold supporter. 5 years ago, guys, he was a laughing stock because of what happened on Monday Night Football, and he was a cast-off from the Jets. This is to go to the Super Bowl. The Rams are going to put this game in his hands. can Sam Darnold do it in the biggest moment?
Yeah, that night was one of the best nights of his career. This is the biggest game of his career. Now to Stafford, who obviously you know so well, with a chance to go back to another Super Bowl, and he has played very well against Seattle this year.
Yeah, this is legacy on the line.
Yeah.
This is top 15 quarterback of all time on the line. The 13 personnel that they use. So 1 back, 3 tight ends. Now, a couple things. One, this is not Devontae Adams or Puka. This is Mumfield. So that sells to the defense. Tight ends, here comes run. Can they consistently do that against the Seattle Seahawks defense? Because then, one, it gets Stafford out on the edge. No one's near him. He's protected. Look at all the space in the middle of the field. Because that run action and the 2 star receivers aren't on the field. Now they understand that Mike McDaniel, he wants to take away the deep throws. There's those tight ends again, right? Here comes this run, whether it's a flea flicker or play action. Look at the depth of these guys, okay? Mike McDaniel, get deep, get deep, get deep. Sean McVay is one of the great screen designer and callers that we have in the NFL, those tight end screens. That's an easy play that becomes that 20-yard chunk. And so then this is the game, the creativity. There's those 3 tight ends a game, just in different positions. Now it's just a play fake. And as the defense, maybe you're a little bit closer this time. And you lift the coverage and you're paying attention to the tight end screen. Here comes Puka on the huge in route. This felt like the game winner. And so I think the 3 tight ends matter a ton in this game, because that's really when McVay, at least in this iteration, becomes his most creative. How does Seattle handle that? And can they get to Matthew Stafford out of that grouping? Well, huge determination of who wins that game.
I agree with you on legacy. Here's the way I look at it as one who has paid attention to this forever. If Matthew Stafford had retired before this season began, he's a 1-time Super Bowl champ who's accumulated a lot of big numbers and did a lot of losing in Detroit. I think that he would have been right on the borderline of being a Hall of Famer eventually. He probably, maybe would have gotten in eventually. I don't think it was a lock. I think if he leads this team to a Super Bowl and wins the MVP, now he's a 2-time Super Bowl champion and an MVP, which he had never previously been. I think he becomes a lock for the Hall of Fame. So I think that's what I meant when I said Stafford is playing for more than just 100%. Going back to a championship game. I think the Hall of Fame, he becomes a Hall of Fame lock if he wins the MVP and wins the Super Bowl.
And think about all the questions there were about Matthew Stafford during the offseason. Number one, would he even be in L.A.? Because there were trade discussions with the Giants, the Steelers, the Raiders. The Rams work out their differences. They keep him. Then we go into training camp. Doesn't practice all summer. Has the back issue. You would never know that this was a quarterback that could have been traded, that had the back injuries, that now is on the verge of cementing that legacy that you're talking about.
Absolutely. If he pulls it out this year, he is a Hall of Famer, and I probably wouldn't have said that before this season, because the narrative around Matt Stafford is that even with his Super Bowl, the naysayers will say, oh, they loaded a bunch of talent on that team. And when in Detroit, because of the losing, and Matt Stafford was never at the level that Sam Darnold was in the low points of his career, because he's also been uber talented. But he's a perfect example of something very similar, of someone who is incredibly talented, but the thousands and thousands of reps have made him a wizard with the football. It makes him understand defensive football better than almost anybody on the field, because Sean McVay is there as well. And he has the perfect mixture of talent, which he's been able to sustain at his age, and good, to where, again, you're looking at defenses he's playing against, and he's always a step ahead because he's such a wizard in understanding of the game of football.
I think he's a Hall of Famer.
Me too.
But if he wins this game and then wins the Super Bowl, I think he gets into the conversation for one of the top 10, 15 quarterbacks of all time. And he would accomplish, I think there's only 13 quarterbacks in the history of the NFL that have won more than just one Super Bowl. He would have 2. So, there is a different level in grouping that he gets into if he wins this one and the Super Bowl.
The MVP is a big deal, too. Don't overlook that, because there are quarterbacks that have won Super Bowls. He would then have 2 Super Bowls and an MVP award, which means there was at least one season in which he was deemed to be the best in the entire league. So there are some guys that they will raise these questions about. Eli Manning didn't get in his first year. I thought he would. I believe he will get in for sure eventually. It's a question of time. But I think Stafford, the MVP, would push him even ahead of that on the line. So we'll see. So both quarterbacks have a legacy at stake in the NFC game, and obviously a trip to Santa Clara. Coming up, could we see a McCarthy and Rodgers reunion in Pittsburgh? One Steelers legend is all for it.